G'day crew. In this episode I have our son-in-law on board and we're going to drop some crab pots to see if we can find where the crabs are and then go and chase some mackerel. After catching one mackerel, as soon as we started to troll, it looked like we were going to have a great day. The second rod got hit within seconds of landing that first fish. Unfortunately, with everything that was happening, I hadn't put the safety straps on the rods. I talk about using the safety straps in most of my videos. I generally always put them on the rods before I put them out. But this time I got distracted, the safety straps were rigged ready to go, I just didn't clip them onto the rods. Unfortunately, I paid the price for that oversight. Now, I don't know exactly what hit that lure, but whatever it was big. I did have the drag done up pretty high, but the drag was set where the line could have absorbed it. However, it pulled the rod right out of the holder. The rod might have been on the bottom of the ocean or at least on its way there, but I could see the fish was still attached to the rod because it was splashing around on the surface way behind us. I just couldn't tell what it was. I did have the thought that I might have been able to turn around and tangle the line with the other lure if the fish stayed on the surface. It was a slim chance, but the only possibility I had to retrieve the rod. I started to turn, but nothing came of it. By the time I was halfway through the turn, the fish had managed to get off, or at least he disappeared from the surface. I'd never lost a rod before in my life, but it was the first time for everything, and it's a mistake I hope I don't ever repeat.
Well, we're having a bit of fun going along with the boat. I hope you don't get too close to that propeller. He must have heard and he's moved aside. Hey, there he is.
Now this is the track where we were initially trolling near the Hope Banks. That's where we got the first mackerel and lost the rod to whatever hit it. After catching the first mackerel and the disastrous second hit, we didn't get any more interest, so that's when we headed over to sound around Harries. There was no shortage of bait in some areas, and you can see some larger fish hanging around it. I find it nearly impossible to tell how big fish are on the sounder, particularly with bait schools. A big bait school can be slimy mackerel or herring, or it might just be a ball of tiny whitebait. Until I pull one up, I'm not sure. I suspect that some of these larger schools might have been whitebait because we stopped and jigged a couple of them in order to get some live bait to chase snapper, but I didn't get anything, and that usually means the fish are too small to take the bait jig. If you were really keen, you could throw a cast net out and see if you could get some, but I'm not really good at cast netting, so I didn't bother. We did have a very brief look around Harries for some sign of snapper or maybe some bait, but we didn't find anything, so we headed over to the foul ground. There was some activity on the sounder at the foul ground, so we had a few drifts, but all we found were pickers, so we decided to head for the Rous and resume trolling for mackerel.
Stuck with it? Yeah, just cut it into steaks and take the skin off as you eat it if you don't want to eat the skin. I like eating the fish skin, but not so much mackerel. It's very thin skin, it's got no real taste to it. But snapper skin, I reckon a lot of flavour in the skin of snapper. Oh, be ready for the next one then. Oops! She's up again. You go? Yep. Yep, go get it. Yep, I got one. I think he's big enough too. Yep. Alright. Is that two passes we've done without a hit?
Huh?
Where have we done two passes without a hit now? Alright. gave it a nudge, but I don't think they got on. Going fast actually now. Oh, we're up. We're up.
Do we go this one?
No, you go, quick, get it. Keep the pressure on. Oh, too late, it's flipped. You've got to try and keep the pressure on so the board doesn't go down, otherwise it's just hard work. Yep, oh, it's a slightly better one, I think. Okay. Oh, come on. Just stop that. Oops, we're up. Yep, another mackerel.
Two, I reckon.
Yeah, I think so.
What are they, 50?
50. Give me a measure, I'll put the rod back in.
Maybe not. Yep.
52, yep, another one. Huh?
Wasn't all the way back. There we go.
Yeah. Oh,
Just 50.
hang on, here's a 50 look. Yeah, it's just over 50. Keep an eye on that and I'll dispatch him.
It's turning all right now.
Yeah, you get the feed now. We'll just keep going backwards and forwards here.
There's plenty for a feed, isn't there?
Oh, you may as well have 2 feeds. Give some to Trent.
Yeah.
Tell him what a good fisherman you are.
So is that 4 here?
Yep, that's 4 so far. Looking for more.
And this is our trolling track in the Rous. You can't go there next week and expect to get fish where we did, but if you follow my videos, you will get an idea of where you need to try to see if you can locate the fish. The bottom line is that even if you know the spots where the fish hang out, you still have to burn the petrol to find out where they are hanging out on any particular day. I'm happy to get you started by giving you these spots to look at, but it's up to you to do the rounds and find them on the day that you're out on the water. Now when I'm trolling, I always keep an eye on the sounders. School mackerel seem to like a bit of structure, but only when there's a bit of bait hanging around as well. At least that's generally my experience. Occasionally, I've caught them out in the open where there's no apparent structure around, but mostly I find them where there is structure of some sort. The drop-offs along the shipping channels, the beacons along the shipping channels, the Rous knob, the drop-offs along the edges of the Rous channel, the Hope banks, the channels inside the South Passage bar, and the drop-offs and holes around the Rainbow Channel are just a few of the spots to look at. I usually troll for mackerel between 4 and 6 knots on the GPS. That's also a good speed to look for fish and structure on your sounder. I say on the GPS because the speed through the water will depend on the current strength and direction combined with your speed and direction. If you're travelling with the current, then you subtract the speed of the current from your speed to get the speed of the lure through the water. Add your speed to the speed of the current if you're travelling against the current to get the speed of the lure in the water. I think it's important to make that distinction because when you think about it, the fish doesn't care how fast your boat's going. What it cares about is how fast the lure is moving through the water because it's sitting in that water current. The fish has no idea what his speed is relative to the GPS. All the fish cares about is how fast that lure's moving past him when he's thinking about eating it. Now my guess is that the fish's choice boils down to how much energy it has to expend to chase after that lure and eat it, and is it worth expending that energy. In the past, I've noticed that I will catch more fish in an area when I'm travelling in one direction than I do when I reverse course and go back in the other direction. I put this down to what I've been talking about, the speed of the lure through the water. So I adjust the throttle a little bit to try and keep the speed of the lure through the water relatively constant regardless of my direction of travel. It's easy enough to find out the speed and direction of the current. If the wind speed is negligible, put your engine in neutral and drift for a minute and the GPS will give you your speed and direction. And without the wind component, that's the speed and direction of the current. Otherwise, if you've got a bit of wind around, leave your throttle set and travel with the current, observing your speed on the GPS. Turn around and travel against the current. The difference in speeds is the speed of the current, give or take a little bit for the influence of the wind. I think that's about all I can tell you regarding trolling speeds. I hope it helps.
You get a few steaks out of one of them, didn't you?
Oh yeah, yeah you will.
I'll cut them in steaks and freeze them. So you don't have to do anything to skin them or nothing, just...
No.
I got a chopper there.
Yeah, but you probably just cut through it with a decent heavy knife.
Yeah. Got to gut them though.
Yeah, oh yeah, you got to gut them. Cut the heads off and gut them. Ooh. Ooh, a lot of bait there. There's some mackerel in amongst them. That's about right there. Pity we didn't have those lines out. Not seeing any bus stops. We're on the surface.
Oh, what's that there?
What?
In front of us here.
I know, but it's popped. The board's popped.
Has it?
Yeah.
There was a bloody... Look, shut up.
Here it comes. That's not a bad one. Oh, there's off again. Alright, got the rod. Ah, grinner this time. Wouldn't be a trolling session without a bloody grimace. I ain't got anything on him, mate. No, nothing on him. Oh, I might as well leave him in now. Just wind him into the green beads or something. Keep an eye out for the other baits. I'll put this away. Something bit it right off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes, that's why she popped. Something bit it right off. They must have taken a good whack out of it. Yeah, feel that. It's been teeth through that.
Yeah.
Now this is the line from that final hit in the Rous channel. I have changed my trolling rig slightly since my previous videos showing how I set them up. Lately I've been making the line from the trolling board to the swivel longer and the line from the swivel to the lure shorter. The idea being that the shorter line from the lure to the swivel will not absorb as much twisting before there's enough pressure to rotate the swivel, so I should get less twist in the line. I have found that monoline can twist quite a bit before there's enough pressure to turn the swivel, and the longer the line the more twist it can have. It's not as bad as braid, which can absorb so much twist that it's hardly worth even having a swivel on the line. And that's the reason I've pretty much given up putting swivels on my braid line. Anyway, that's the reason I shortened the trace between the swivel and the lure. I wouldn't have thought that the line was short enough for a fish to swallow the lure and bite the line off where this was bitten. In fact, I'd say it'd be pretty much impossible. It's possible that a fish took a bite at the swivel and missed, biting the line instead. I'm not sure exactly what happened here, but I think the shorter trace is worth persevering with for a little while longer to assess its benefits or lack thereof. Once I've made up my mind about it, if I think it's worthwhile, I'll put a video up detailing just how I set it up. The weather was a bit cloudy and we had the occasional shower early on, but the water was calm enough to make it a pleasant day and a bit of rain has never bothered me. Despite the cloudy conditions, the sun was out enough to make sure that the spoon lure did its thing and created enough flashing to attract the bites. The mackerel we caught were all legal size, but none were enormous. Now that happens sometimes. You can't always go out and bag a PB. Nevertheless, we got a good feed out of the trip. I still had some snapper and cobia in my freezer, so I told Anthony to take the mackerel for his large family. And what about the crabs? How did we go there? I had spread the pots out over a large area, both in location and in depth, in the hope of finding where the crabs were holding. And because I had Anthony on board with me, I was able to drop 8 pots. So we had high hopes that we would have some success with the crabs. Unfortunately, out of 8 pots we only managed 3 keepers. The rest were either undersize or jennies, and there wasn't a great many of those. It was quite disappointing actually. Next time I go out I'm going to try some completely different spots where I haven't dropped pots for years. And that's it for this video. I hope you've got some useful tips out of all my waffle. I'll just clarify the background picture on this screen has nothing to do with the trip. This is one of my boys catching a fish back when we owned the big bait. It's a small fish, but a proud moment for him nevertheless. Now, it really doesn't matter what you catch, how big it is, or how many there are. Having fun, building memories, and enjoying your time on the water is what really counts. And I couldn't think of a better picture than this one to tell you that. Until next time, good fishing.